NDTV Profit Conclave, where my colleague from NDTV, Nikunj Garg, is involved in a fireside chat with Prasanna Mohile, the National Head of Corporate Affairs and Executive Board Member at Pernod Ricard India. Listen in.
Tell me something that your journey in this country, that is Pernod Ricard's journey in this country, has been almost a 3-decade-long journey. What have been your lessons in that journey? How do you see the company going forward? How do you see the entire industry of conviviality, since you are a major player in that industry, and as we have been hearing a lot, the premium segment of the economy growing, and that segment also grows in your industry and makes your company all the more an important player. How do you see the last 30 years and going forward, your journey in India?
Thank you, Nikunj. As we all know, Pernod Ricard, many might not be knowing, but my convivial folks, they know Seagram's more. So in last 30 years, I mean, our journey started in 1993, immediately after globalization and liberalization era. And it was founded in 93, and I think the production started in 94. And from there on, I think we take pride in saying that the premiumization was introduced in India by Pernod Ricard there. And we initially started from, say, a volume of 1 lakh cases to 65 million cases today, and leading the industry in India. So our journey, we have always partnered with the growth of this country. As the economy of this country consistently grew, we also grew with the economy of this country there.
So you are the one who made alcohol expensive for all of us, basically. You are the one who brought expensive alcohol to this country.
So we introduced, as I said, premiumization was something which was introduced by Pernod Ricard to the Indian consumers to get that kind of a quality to our consumers, that experience. It was Pernod Ricard who initiated that. So with premiumization, there comes a cost.
Yes, I mean, jokes apart, premiumization and better quality and a global experience is something that the Indian consumer today demands. And almost every sector, we have now companies which are global companies like yours, which Pernod Ricard is a global giant in the industry that you operate in.
Yes, so we've been a responsible company in this field. And we knew that there is a lot of scope in the country to grow in the premiumization segment. And year by year, if you see, there's been a lot of potential for the whole industry today in premiumization segment in India. And that is where, in a very planned way, we went ahead year by year. And this is where we are today.
And Mr. Mohile, I must ask you this question, because yours is a sector which is seen more from the prism of revenue in this in various matrix. But the theme of this conclave today is Viksit Bharat, a blueprint for 2047. And our Prime Minister has been very insistent that by that time he wants to see this country as a developed country on all the global platforms. In fact, that reminds me that he recently went to France, met the French President, Mr. Macron, where your leadership was also present in those meetings. So how are you partnering, your sector, your company partnering, to see a developed India's journey coming to fruition by 2047?
That's a nice question, Nikunj. I mean, recently, as you've seen, the Prime Minister has been to France. There had been certain bilateral discussions there. Our group CEO, Mr. Alexander Rika, was also present there as one of the speakers. And you would see that almost around 850 companies today are investing, French companies are in India. I would say that in terms of volume and scale, Pernod Ricard would be somewhere around first 3 or 4 companies in India who's invested so much here and being part of the growth story of this country. So we always have played a very, very important role in getting the French investments here. My Pernod Ricard India CEO and Managing Director, Jean Touboul, he's also the President of Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industries, who guides the French companies to come here in India and invest in various parts of the state. So we are doing our bit also in other sectors in guiding the other French investment coming in. So Pernod Ricard has been one of the very, very important, we have a very important role to play in the economic growth of this country today.
That's very nice that, not only your company has been driving the growth potential of the sector that they are in, but they are also inviting other French companies to invest in India, partner in our growth story. Now, let me also ask you, since we are talking of growth dynamics and since we are talking of growth potential in the country, what are the kind of revenue contributions and what are the kind of revenue projections that you see of the sector that you operate in? And how is it helping? Look, a large part of the state government's revenue is obviously dependent on your sector. So how is it contributing in the social aspect of job creation, education, and densification, so to say, of the work that you do in the various industries and fields?
Well, Nikunj, this sector plays a very important role in contributing to the economic growth, as I said. In terms of job creation, industry as a whole, I would say, direct, indirect, taking the induced economic theory into place with the complete value chain, we generate as an industry almost 50 lakh jobs. And
50 lakh jobs annually.
Annually. And Pernod Ricard contributes to that almost 9 lakh jobs. And out of those 9 lakh jobs, 6 lakh jobs are into the agriculture sector. If I talk about the revenue contribution, the industry contributes almost around 3 lakh crores.
Annually.
Annually. And Pernod Ricard directly contributes almost 23,000 plus crores. And to the GDP, it contributes almost 39,000 to 40,000 crores today. So that's the kind of contribution we do to the growth of this country. And when you asked about how we contribute, if you have seen the times of COVID, when the entire economy had collapsed, at that point in time, it was this Alcobev sector who stood by the government there. And this was the only source, I must say, for government for the revenues that time. And we stood by all the state governments in whatever bit we could do. So that is the kind of potential this sector has.
You were talking about agriculture job growth and 6 lakhs job annually being created in the agriculture sector. Look, at the bottom of the pie, and particularly as our previous speaker was also talking, in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, in smaller towns, job creation is a challenge. It is a challenge that Government of India also wants addressed. Various state governments also want that challenge addressed, and through multiple initiatives and schemes, all the governments have at all points in time tried to answer that crisis or try to sort of respond to that crisis. So do you think, Mr. Mohile, that your industry has been able to make a positive impact as far as the agriculture sector is concerned, because a lot of your raw material actually comes from the agriculture sector?
Yes, you are right, Nikunj. Basically, if you see, as I said, out of those 9 lakh jobs, 6 lakhs are into the agriculture sector. So my main byproduct is grain. And today, if I see that most of the job creations which are done are on the urban side, but on the rural side, there is not much investment which has been done. So Pernod Ricard now, as I put in some time, I was to tell you that we are also going to invest further here in India, especially in Nagpur, for the 200 million euros malt maturation plant in time to come. And if you see, we would be needing almost 5,000 tons barley per month there. That is 60,000 tons around annually. Our rough estimate says that it will contribute almost 80 to 90,000 farmers in the state of Vidarbha, where there is a lot of distress today in the farming sector, in the agriculture sector. So Pernod Ricard is one who basically believes that, unless the rural economy is not linked with the urban economy there, then the real sustainable development and the dream of Vikasit Bharat will never come true. So there has to be a proper linkage between the rural economy and the urban economy mixed together, which will we will see the dream of Vikasit Bharat coming true.
Well, that also is something that the policy makers have almost always spoken about, that if the country has to develop, the rural areas, the Mofussil towns, the smaller towns have to develop fast. But I'm glad that you bring me to this part of the sustainability aspect of your industry, Mr. Mohile, because one of the criticism of your industry sometimes is that while you are making your own segments premium and a lofty urban picture is there, but in the end use where you are drawing your raw material from, the sustainable practices remain a challenge. Have you been able to, since you are such a giant in the industry, since you are you have such a legacy in the world, not only in India, have you been able to move your operations in the sustainable directions? And if yes, what all have you been able to achieve so far, and what are your future plans?
See, we've done a lot of initiatives in this. Sustainability is basically is a core value for Pernod Ricard today. It's in the heart of Pernod Ricard. We value our Mother Earth and the community at large. By eliminating our monocartons today, we have reduced the carbon emission by 7,310 tons annually. That means conserving almost 250,000 trees annually there. And by 2030, we aim to reduce our packaging emission by 75,000 by 2030. So we are very conscious about the environment. We are very conscious about the community around us. So we do a lot of initiatives in farmer upskilling, helping them for a sustainable farming there, on how best they can get their yield. We focus on women empowerment. We focus on digital educations. We've also had a tie-up with the Maricom Foundation to promote the rural sports. So Pernod Ricard has been very conscious about the role Pernod Ricard has to play for sustainability.
And when you talk of sustainability, one of the important parts is that you mentioned in brief, but I want you to discuss it a little more about it, about the farmer upskilling or the upskilling of your partners, as you call them, on the ground. So in terms of rural economy upskilling overall, are you investing there, or are you taking people out to get trained, or are you showing them new sustainable practices in the farmland? What is the approach that you're applying? I mean, how is it that you think that your practices, which largely draw from Mother Earth, become more sustainable in times to come? Because sustainability, as I said, is the way to go forward, and it will always remain one big initiative for a corporate giant like yours.
Yeah, of course. And as I said, we help them train the farmers that how best they can get their yield, how, the wastage of water should not be there, how it can be used optimally, and basically help them also get the right value for their produce today, which is a challenge in the farming sector, in the agriculture sector. So Pernod Ricard also plays a role in helping them develop a sustainable farming in this way.
Not wanting to take too much of your time, but let me ask you last one or two questions, Mr. Mohile. One of the questions is that you say that your industry contributes a large pool to the revenue side of the state governments, also to the various other activities that you undertake from social welfare, etc. But yours is a very highly regulated industry. Going forward, as the country moves towards a Viksit Bharat, the experience of the developed world in terms of dealing with this industry is something, I would say, completely different from what we have in this country now. Do you think, in your mind, as the industry leader, as an important player of the industry, do you think that experience should change your interface with the governments, your interface with the consumers? What kind of change that you would desire in coming years, and what is it that you will think in your mind that will change the contours of the industry?
A very good question, Nikunj. I'm happy you asked this. As I told you, the contribution of the alcohol sector to the Indian economy today, to further grow, I think today this sector needs an industry status. We are struggling to get that today. And if this sector comes into the mainstream sector, then you would see more investments coming in and the sector growing much more faster than what it is today. So we need government's focus basically to get this sector into the mainstream sector, give them the industry status which is required. This industry is a very, very heavily regulated industry. So I feel that government, rather than seeing it only a partner to earn revenue out of the alcohol sector, they should help in ease of doing business also, because today there are so many multiple regulatory hurdles we face across the country in various states. So if government helps us basically to grow, then they have to also look at doing ease of doing for this sector, which can promote further growth.
And you're right, because ease of doing business is something that every government, state government champions, Government of India champions, every state does its investor summits and says that, we are the most investor-friendly state. So probably they can also look or consider your demands, which can be logically or reasonably met. Now, let me ask you my last question, Mr. Prasanna Mohile, of the day. As I said, you are a friend of NDTV, and we will keep asking you various questions. But you said that you are making a big investment in Maharashtra, Vidarbha, Nagpur, where you have made some 200 million euro investment already. So do you think that going forward, your bigger investment plans are around this region or other regions? Do you find something more attractive in the western region that makes it more investor friendly for you, or do you think that you can expand this into various parts of the country, provided the governments become, as you said, more into ease of doing business?
Well, we've invested more here in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a very progressive state. Like other states also today do have a very progressive policy, but then our initial investment of the manufacturing facility started here in Nasik. So after experiencing the success in one location there, our future plan of investment, we thought that should be in and around Maharashtra in the central part. And Nagpur was selected because it is locationally, we have that advantage of Nagpur being in the center of the map, and logistically also it will definitely help us doing it. And the important factor always while we invest in any part is how progressive the government is. Because this industry does require a partnership with the bureaucracy there, with the administration, the government there, the policy makers. So today, when we see very recently our Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, had been to Davos, and there were almost 15,70,000 MOUs were signed for Maharashtra. That shows that, you know, there is a lot of euphoria which is generated in and around Maharashtra today because kind of speed they are approving various projects. And similarly, basically it was this also that under his dynamic leadership of Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, we thought that our investment would be safe if we invest further in Maharashtra, and that too in Nagpur.
And you think other state governments are also kind of expanding that horizon where you can work in? My last question to you. And where you can expand your horizon, or do you think that there's a different kind of landscape that operates and that needs to improve?
No, as I said, all the state governments today, after 2014, once the ease of doing index started and it was monitored by Niti Aayog on various parameters, each state started competing with each other. So there was a very healthy competition between all the states there. So everybody tries to see that, you know, how best I can compete on various incentive packages which we can offer to the industry. So there is quite healthy competition coming in. So I would say yes, Maharashtra, because we've experienced success in Maharashtra, we have come here. But other states also are not lagging behind. Everybody has good dynamic industrial policy in place today. And if you would have been to Davos, you could see all the pavilions of India were completely choco-blocked by various investors visiting them.
Shortly we will have a Davos in Bombay, and we will have it with NDTV. You know, why go to Davos all the time, Mr. Mohile?
Yes, I think if this dynamic leadership continues and the political will is there, I think Davos will definitely come here. 15,70,000 crores is not a small amount, Nikunj. So I hope it happens someday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohile. Thank you very much for joining NDTV.
Thank you, Nikunj. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you.